We are picking up on Yud Zayin Amud Aleph. We are on the last line of the Amud. Tonight's Gemara, we're actually going to be doing a lot of psukim that relate to Shmona Esrei. So I got the siddur out for when we get to it, but okay, here we go. So right now the Gemara is trying to figure out. The Gemara is saying that that you cannot skip when it came to Halal. You can't do it when it comes to Kriya Shema, you can't do it when it comes to Shmona Esrei. So the Gemara says, so we already established about Halal, we have psukim. So now the Gemara says, Kriya Shema, how do we know that for Kriya Shema that you have to say it in order without skipping it? So Gemara is going to go off a little bit of a tangent, and then it's going to come back and it's going to show how you have to read it without going out of order. Kriya Shema, Titania, Kriya Shema Kichzava. That when someone's saying Kriya Shema, you have to say it in the way that it's written. You have to say it in Hebrew. You can't say it in any other language. Chacham argue, they say that you can say it in any language that you understand it. So my time with the Rebbe, what's the reason that Rebbe says you can say it in any language? That you have to do it only in Hebrew. Amar Kra, turning to Yud Zayin Abayz, V'hayu, that it says V'hayu hadvar me'ela. So what does that mean? V'avyasin Yehu, that just the way that it's written, the way that it is, that's the way that you have to read it. So you can only do it in Hebrew. You can't do it in any other lashon. Rabbanan, my Tamar, what's the reason that the Rabbanan say that you can do it in any language that you want to? Amar Kra Shema, it says in the pasuk Shema. What does that mean? B'chal lashon shatar shmei, that in any language that you hear / understand, so that's the way that you're supposed to be saying it. So therefore, they say you can do it in any language. So the Gemara asks, Rebbe Nami Haksiv Shema. How does Rebbe understand? Why does he say that you can only do it in Hebrew? It says Shema, which seems to imply that you could do it in any language that you understand. So Gemara answers, that you need to be able to, when you're saying Shema, you need to say it loud enough that you're going to be able to hear the words that are being said that are leaving your mouth. Rabbanan Sarvi Commander Amar Hakare Shema V'lo Shishmil Azno Yatsa. They say no, you don't need Shema to tell you that because they hold you don't have to be able to hear it. It's a machlokas whether or not you have to hear yourself say Shema when you're saying it. So they hold that you don't have to be able to hear Shema. So therefore they're able to use the word Shema to learn something else, which is to tell you that you could say it in any language. The Gemara asks now, Rabbanan Nami Haksiv V'hayu. According to Rabbanan, it says in the pasuk V'hayu, which Rebbe used to teach us that it has to be said only in Hebrew. So what do they do with the word V'hayu? So Ahomi Ba'ile Shalo Yikra L'Mafreya, which is again, that's the whole purpose of what this Gemara was, that they use it to tell you V'hayu says that you can't read it out of order, but V'hayu should be the way that it is. That's the way you should always be doing it, without skipping anything. So Gemara asks, Rabbana of Rebbe Shlo Yikra L'Mafreya Minali. How does Rebbe know that you're not able to read it out of order? Gemara answers, it says Midvar V'hayu Hadvar Me'ela. So it says it could have just said V'hayu Dvar Me'ela. It says V'hayu Hadvar Me'ela. So the extra hey is teaching you that that you're not able to that you're not able to read it out of order. Rabbanan Dvarim Hadvarim Lo Mashmalu, and the Rabbanan did not learn out from the extra hay because they hold the fact that it said the extra hay that doesn't mean anything. The Torah was not saying it for us to learn anything, so therefore they had to learn out from V'hayu to tell you that you're not able to read out of order, and they don't learn out from the fact that there's no extra hay. So Gemara asks now. So the Gemara says, so going off on a tangent now. So we just established that you can't say Shema out of order. So going off a little bit on a tangent that has nothing to do with it. Lema Kasava Rebbe, who said that you could say in any language, Kala Torah Kula B'Chalashin Emra, that the whole Torah can be said in any language. Why? Because if you say that the whole Torah can only be said in Hebrew, so Lama Leila Mechta V'hayu. Why does the Torah have to say specifically by Shema V'hayu that V'hayu has to be the way that it's written and that it's written in Hebrew, so therefore you have to read it in Hebrew? If the whole Torah is in Hebrew, anyway you know that you're reading it in Hebrew. It must be that the rest of the Torah can be said in any language that you want to. So my answer is no. It's you can't learn from that. Because you might thought that it would be Shema, that just like the Rebbe said, maybe the Rabbanan have something when they're saying that Shema means that any way you understand it, that's the way you could read it. So therefore, we have to say V'hayu, because Rachman V'hayu, to tell you that no, even though the pasuk says Shema, but V'hayu tells you that you are only able to do it in Hebrew and you can't do it in any other language. And the Gemara says now going the other way, that the Rabbanan will say that the rest of the Torah can only be said in Hebrew. Why? Because if you're going to say that the rest of the Torah can be said in any language, why does the Torah have to say Shema to tell you that you need to be able to, that in any language that you can understand it, that's the way you're able to say it? If the whole Torah can be written in any language, you don't need a specific word to tell you that you could say Shema in any language. So the Gemara answers no. Itzrich. Sabatai Chamin of Vahayu Rebbe, because they thought maybe they would say no. You know what? Rebbe has a point also, and Vahayu maybe means that you need to be reading it just like it's written, that you can only do it in Hebrew and not any other way. So therefore, the Torah wrote Shema to tell you that it could be recited in any language as long as you're able to understand it. That's what the Rabbanon hold. Okay, so now we learned Halal and we learned Shema, that they have to be written in order. So now the Gemara is going to go through almost the rest of the Amud. Actually is only going to be going through now. How do you know that Shemona Esrei has to be in order? And it's going to go through every pasuk. All the brachos, why the brachos are put in the order that they're put, and that you can't move them from, switch them around. So the Gemara says, Tefillah Minolan. How do we know that for Shemona Esrei that you have to say it in order? And again, Shemona Esrei, it's called Shemona Esrei because it was established with 18 brachos, but it's really, there's 19 brachos in Shemona Esrei because the bracha of Elam Al Shinim was added in later on. So really, there's 19, but they stuck with the name Shemona Esrei that always stuck. Kind of like the Baltimore Colts, that people weren't able to switch back to whatever. So okay, so how do you know that Shemona Esrei it has to be read in order and you can't go out of order? The Tanya Shimon HaPikuli his Shemona Esrei brachos Lifnei Rabbi Gamliel Aseri B'Yamna, that Shimon HaPikuli, who Rashi says that he was a cotton merchant, so he arranged the brachos in Yavna in the order of the Shemona Esrei. And just listening to Rabbi Silber from many years ago when he was given this year, he said it goes to show you Shimon HaPikuli was a cotton merchant. So Shemona Esrei, which we think of Shemona Esrei is like we daven 3 times a day, it was a cotton merchant that set up. Although the Gemara is going to show that it was also Rabbanan, it's Machlokas, but it was a cotton merchant that set up what Shemona Esrei, which goes to show you that just because someone is a balabas and he's working, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have to, and that he can't excel in Torah learning also. You could be a successful balabas, and you can also be a successful, and at the same time be a successful learner, and someone that's able to set up Shemona Esrei. So just something we learned from the Gemara. So he says that he arranged Shemona Esrei. Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Yochanan said, and some say it was a brisa, Me'av Esrim Zakanim, that there were 120 Zakanim, Uvehem Kamen Neviim Tiknu Shemona Esrei Brachos Al Seder. And from amongst them, there were many Neviim also, and they were the ones that made Shemona Esrei. They were the ones that set up the order that was said. So the Gemara is going to explain later what Shimon HaKipuli, what the cotton merchant, what he was coming to do. So Tan Rabbanan, so now we're going to go through Shemona Esrei and show the psukim that establishes where they're supposed to go. Tan Rabbanan, Minayin She'omrim B'Avos, how do we know that you're supposed to say the first bracha is supposed to be about the Avos, about Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? Shenemar, it says in the pasuk, Havel Hashem b'nei Elim, that you should give to Hashem the sons of the mighty ones. What does that mean? That who are the mighty ones? The mighty ones are Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. They were called that because their emunah, the way that they believed in Hashem, they were the first ones that were Bali emunah, so it refers to them as the mighty ones. And then Uminayim Shomer Kedusha. Uminayim Shomer Gevuros. And how do you know that the next bracha of Mechal Chaim Mechesed, which again is talking about Mashiach Baruch Marida Geshem, and it's talking about how mighty Hashem is? How do you know that that's the second bracha? Because the pasuk continues, Shenemar Havul Hashem Kavavod. You should give Hashem the honor and the might. So might is the Gevuros. Uminayim Shomer Kedushos. And how do you know that the third bracha, which is Ata Kadosh, how do you know that that's the next bracha? Because again the pasuk continues, Shenemar Havul Hashem Kavod Shemo Hishtach Hashem Bahadras Kodesh. So again, using the word Kodesh, that's telling you that the third bracha is following the one for Gevura, which is following the one for Avos. Umaro Lomar Bina Acha Kedusha. And why did they put the bracha of Ato Chonein after Kala Kadosh? Shenamar v'hikdishu as Kadosh Yaakov as Elkei Yisrael Yaritzu. That it says that first that they're going to make Hashem Kadosh, and that they're going to have fear and they're going to respect Hashem, and then Usamichle after they have this Kadosh, then it says v'yadu soei ruach bina, that they're going to understand, then they're going to have bina. So you see that after you have kedusha, that's when they would have bina. So that's why we put the bracha of Chanan Adas afterwards. So why do we have the bracha then of Hashivenu? Why does that follow bina? So because the pasuk says Yavin v'shav v'rafalo. First it says that he's going to have understanding, which that's Chonen Hadas, and then he's going to do tshuva. So that's the next bracha of Hashivenu, which is talking about the bracha of tshuva. So the Gemara asks Hachi, because if you look at the pasuk, it says Ulavavo Yavin v'shav v'rafalo. It says, and then he's going to be healed. The Gemara says Ihachi lemer refuah b'asher the tshuva. Why do we have the bracha after hashivenu? Should be the bracha of rifaenu. Why do we go to slach lanu? So our answer is lo sakadaitach dichsiv v'yashav al Hashem v'yirachmeyu ve'elokenu ki yarbe l'soach. It says again v'yashav, which is talking about tshuva, and then it talks about that he's going to have forgiveness. It's talking about slicha. So that pasuk shows you that after you have tshuva, then you go to slach lanu. So Gemara asks, wait a second, my chazis to samachaha. Why do you rely on the second pasuk, which tells you that first you go to slach because it says slach, so therefore we're going to do the slach lanu after tshuva? Why don't we go to the other pasuk that talked about refuah, and why don't we say that you learn from that pasuk? So Gemara answers, Kasav Krachrina, there's another pasuk. It says, Hasoleach l'chol anochi harofe, l'chol tachlui hagoel, mishachas chayochi. That it says who's going to forgive all of your averos that you do, who's going to cure all of the diseases that we have, and who's going to take you out from the depths of despair. L'meimra de geula refuah basaslichi, which is teaching you that geula comes at that again, the bracha of geula, of reivan yeni, which is talking about geula, that comes after slicha. So Gemara asks, "V'aksiv v'shav rafalo," but it says again, this concept of refuah. So again, why do you say that you go to reiva? Why do you go talk about geula? Why do you go to the bracha of rafeinu? So Gemara answers, because ahu lav refuah de tachluim hi, because that's not talking about. It's not talking about a physical healing that it's talking about. Ela refuah de slichahu. It's talking about that the neshama somehow, when a person does averos, the neshama gets sick. It has an illness, and the refuah that it's talking about in that pasuk is talking about the refuah of the neshama, not the refuah of a physical refuah. So therefore, you go slach lanu, then you go to geula. So Gemara asks, Umar ro lomar geula b'shviyah. So why is it the seventh pasuk? The seventh pasuk is re'evan yeni rivenu goleinu. Why do we talk about that in the seventh bracha? Gemara answers, Amarava mitoch shasidin ligal b'shviyah, because in the end, the Gemara, and actually Daf Yomi is going to be getting to it in a couple of weeks. The Gemara says that in Sanhedrin that when Mashiach comes, there's going to be a 7-year cycle of events that are going to be taking place, and then in the 7th year, Mashiach is going to come. So therefore, it's because Mashiach is going to come in the 7th year of the cycle of Shemitah. So therefore, we say the 7th bracha. That's where we put the bracha of Geula. Leficha kavua b'shviyah. So therefore, they put in the 7th bracha. So Gemara asks, "V'hamar mar b'shishish kolos." But the Gemara in Sanhedrin says that in the 6th year there's going to be there's going to be chavlei the Mashiach. It's going to be sound. People are going to say Mashiach is coming. There's going to be a tumult going on. The Mashiach is coming. B'shviyas mechamos, in the 7th year of Shemitah, there's going to be the wars that are taking place, Gog and Magog, or other wars that are going to take place. And b'matzei shviyas ben Daviban. Then it says only after that, in the 8th year, Mashiach is going to come. So therefore, why do we put in the 7th bracha? You should really put in the 8th bracha. Answers the Gemara, because the wars itself, even though war is a horrible thing, but again, as we have seen very often, that the punishment is actually the start of the redemption. That we've seen that time and time, that a lot of times when there's a tsar taking place, but that's actually the beginning of the healing process. So because the 7th year, even though it's war, but that's already the start of the geula that's going to be taking place, so we do it in the 7th. So therefore we make in the 7th bracha is when we do it. So Gemara says, "Umar ro lomar refuah b'shminis." Why is that the refaenu is the 8th bracha that we have? So mitoch shenitna mila b'shminis shetzrich refuah leficha kavua b'shminis, because the mitzvah bris milah is given on the 8th day. So therefore they correspondingly they put the 8th bracha is going to be the bracha refaenu. Umar ro lomar birchas Hashanah b'shishis. So why is the next bracha? Why do we say the bracha of Baruch Aleinu, which is talking about Parnasa, and we ask Hashem that He should make the lands plentiful, and He should make that our lives we should have a good Parnasa? Why do they make that the 9th bracha? Amar Rav Alexandri Keneged Mafkiei Sha'arim. It's Keneged the people who would raise the prices in the marketplace. That there were people who would store up the grains, so that they would raise the price of the markets, and then they would go to the marketplace and they would jack up the prices for wheat very high. And David HaMelech wrote Tichsiv Shavar Zera Rasha, that it says that you should break the spirit of these Rishaim who are trying to raise the marketplace. V'David Ki Amra B'Tishis Amra, and when David said it, he said it in the 9th parak of Tehillim. So therefore, we say the bracha of Baruch Aleinu is also said the 9th bracha of Shemona Esrei. And the Mefarshim say also, they point out that I think Rashi and Tosfos bring down there's machlokas that it's actually, if you read it, it's the 10th parak. It's not the 9th. So he says that there's you combine two of the prakim that are going earlier, so it does end up being that it's the 9th parak is where he said it. So why to them do we say the talking about kibbutz galuyos? So everyone's going to come back to Eretz Yisrael. We say the bracha of Tekah b'shofar. Why is that why is that following the bracha of Baruch Aleinu? D'chsiv va'atem hari Yisrael anabchem titnenu u'v'yerchem tisu la'am Yisrael. That you're going to say that once you have that Eretz Yisrael is giving forth all of these brachos, so then everyone's going to want to come close, because once they see that the land is plentiful already, so that's when everyone's going to start coming back to Eretz Yisrael. Because like when I think when Ezra went back to Eretz Yisrael, it was a horrible time then. There was starvation that was going on, there was hunger, there wasn't a lot that was going on. Now you go to Eretz Yisrael, you go to Israel, and you look around, you see how the agricultural things that they do, where they're growing all the stuff on the mountains when you're driving in stone, and you see everything that's growing out there. So people want to start going back to Eretz Yisrael once they see that there's plenty that's going on. So we say Baruch Aleinu, and once Hashem gives the bracha that the land is going to be producing, it's going to be plentiful, so then we have kibbutz galuyos, which is going to be going on. And once you have that everyone's coming back, then you're going to have the judgment that's going to take place, which is Hashiva Shoftenu. You're going to have the Dayanim, you're going to have the judges that are going to be coming back, and they're going to be giving the judgments for the people that deserve it. Shinamar Vashiva Yadi Alayich Vesrov Kabar Sigayach. It says that I'm going to put my hand on you, and I'm going to take away all the things. It's talking about that Hashem's he's going to destroy the Rishaim, the wicked people that there are. So then the next bracha, and once you have that the Rishayim are going to be judged, Kol HaPoshim, so then also the people who are doing Averos intentionally, V'Kol Zedim Imam, and that's going to include the people. I'm sorry, that I'm going to return the judges. Thank you. That I'm going to return the judges, which means that that's Hashiva Shovtenik Rishonah, that the judges are going to be there. And then once you have that the judges are back and they're going to be doing the judges, so then you're going to have that the people who are doing the Averos and the people who are intentionally not listening to Hashem, that's the bracha of Olam Al-Shinim, they're also going to be destroyed. That it says that Hashem's going to destroy them together. He's going to make sure that they don't exist anymore. And once you have that the poshim and the people who are sinning intentionally are going to be destroyed, so then you're going to have the tzaddikim are finally going to be elevated to what they're supposed to be doing. So that misremembers kind of tzaddikim, which is the bracha about tzaddikim al chasidim, d'chsiv v'chol karni rishayim agadeya terumemena karno tzaddik. It says that once I cut off the horns of the rishayim, so then I'm going to lift up the tzaddikim. V'kol geri tzaddikim at tzaddikim, and you're going to have the geri tzedek are also included with that. Shenemar that you should stand up before an old person, which in this case we're translating zaken to mean Tamini Chachamim, which is talking about the ger toshav. So again, that's talking about that Hashem's going to have that He's going to bring everyone together for the tzaddikim and the chasidim, that they're all together. We'll go a little bit more. And where is they're going? Where are they going to be elevated? Yerushalayim, and Yerushalayim. Shenamar Shalu Shalom Yerushalayim Shalu Avayach. That Hashem is He's going to daven for peace in Yerushalayim, and therefore they're going to be very happy there. So that's the bracha of Yerushalayim and the Kivan Shenivnes Yerushalayim. And once Yerushalayim is built, Ba David. So then David is going to come again. We're talking about Mashiach. Shenamar turning to Yechesam and Aleph. That after they return, then they're also going to return David HaMelech to be their king. And then once V'kivan Shabbat David Basa Tefillah. Once you have that David HaMelech comes back, then you're going to have Tefillah is going to come back, which is the bracha of Shema Koleinu. Shenamar Rabbi Yosem Al Har Kadshi V'simachtem V'beis Tefillah. See that I'll bring you to my mountain, and I'm also going to bring you to my base Tefillah. V'kivan Shabbat Tefillah Basa Avoda. Once you have that Tefillah, then you have the bracha of Ritzei. Shenamar Olosem V'zivchem L'Rot. And I'm going to want their karbanos that they're going to be bringing. And once you have avoda, then you're going to have thanks, because Hashem's saying that once you're giving my avoda, then you're thanking me as well, that Hashem's being glorified through the thanks that we give to Him. Okay, we will stop here. The Gemara is going to continue more tomorrow, going through more of the brachos and just asking a little bit on the end on the seder of them.